Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into Atomic Habits by James Clear. And honestly, this is a book that has totally changed the game for millions of people because it gets at a simple truth. Real, lasting change comes from the combined effect of hundreds of tiny decisions.
I mean, you've been there, right? We all have. We set these big, ambitious goals, land a better job, get healthier, finally stop procrastinating. And then, a few weeks later, we find ourselves right back where we started, just feeling kind of stuck.
But here's the book's core idea, and it's a big one. What if the problem isn't you? What if it's your system? James Clear argues that our goals are fine, they point us in the right direction, but it's our systems, the actual processes we follow, that determine if we ever get there.
So let's start with the idea that made this book so famous. It's all about the surprising power of those tiny gains and why the smallest habits actually make the biggest difference.
Instead of trying for some massive, life-altering change that, let's be honest, usually just leads to burnout, Clear's advice is way simpler. Aim for something that sounds almost too small, just a 1% improvement. Yeah, I know, 1%. It feels like nothing, doesn't it? On any single day, it's pretty much invisible. You read one page of a book, you do 2 push-ups. It really doesn't feel like a breakthrough, but something incredible is happening under the surface.
And this is where the magic happens. It's the power of compounding. That tiny 1% improvement, if you do it every single day for a year, doesn't just make you a little better. The math on it is insane. It makes you nearly 37 times better. That's how tiny gains become extraordinary results. A great way to think about it is like an airplane. Imagine it takes off and the pilot changes the course by just a few degrees. At the start, you would never ever notice that tiny shift. But by the end of that long journey, that small change is the difference between landing in one country versus another. And our habits work the exact same way. So why do we give up so often? Well, it's because of this delay. Clear calls it the plateau of latent potential. You could also call it the valley of disappointment. It's that frustrating period where you know you're putting in the work, day in and day out, but you just aren't seeing the payoff yet. This is the danger zone. It's where most people quit right before the breakthrough happens. So how do you push through that plateau? Well, this is where the book gives us a super practical blueprint, a simple framework you can use to build habits that actually stick. It turns out that every single habit you have, the good ones, the bad ones, all of them, is built on the exact same 4-step pattern in your brain. And once you see this pattern, you can actually start to redesign your own behavior. Just think about your phone. The little buzz or notification, that's the cue. That leads to the craving, the desire to see who it is. The response is you picking up the phone. And the reward, that little hit of information or social connection. Cue, craving, response, reward. Every single habit follows this loop. So to build good habits, Clear gives us 4 laws that basically hack this loop. First, make it obvious. You want to run in the morning? Put your running shoes right by the door. You can't miss them. Second, make it attractive. You pair something you want to do with something you need to do. Like maybe you only let yourself listen to your favorite podcast while you're at the gym. Third, make it easy. Use the 2-minute rule. Just meditate for 2 minutes. Just read 1 page. And finally, make it satisfying. You need an immediate reward. Even if it's just putting a big X on a calendar, that feeling of progress is huge. And of course, to break a bad habit, you just do the opposite of all of that.
Okay, but this is where the book goes from being just a simple how-to guide to something much, much deeper. It's not just about what you do, it's about who you believe you are. See, most of us, we approach change by focusing on the outcome. I want to write a book. But the most powerful change, the kind that really lasts, comes from focusing on your identity first. The goal isn't just to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. The goal isn't just to write a book, it's to become a writer. It's a total shift.
And this is the idea that just hits so hard. Every single action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. Every time you go to the gym, that's a vote for I'm a healthy person. Every time you sit down to write, that's a vote for I'm a writer. Your habits literally become the proof of your new identity. This shift in thinking from just focusing on actions to focusing on identity is so profound that it really helps explain why the book itself just exploded. It became a true phenomenon all around the world. I mean, the numbers are just staggering. As of early 2024, Atomic Habits has sold nearly 20 million copies across the globe. That's a number that really speaks to how deeply this simple idea connects with people, making it a genuine cultural touchstone. A book doesn't become successful like that by accident. It succeeds because the core message is true. Lasting change doesn't come from some giant leap. It comes from the accumulation of thousands of those tiny identity-shaping actions that we take every single day.
So at the end of the day, the small choices you make aren't just small choices. They are the votes you cast for your future self. They are compounding over time to determine exactly who you become. So the only real question left is, who are you voting for?